with my cousin. I did some lilac bushes last past 2 years, because you can only trim the dead stuff so much. You can't do it all in one season, or you could kill the tree. But once you learn how much you can take at a time, you say, okay, well, this year, these trees have been really bad and neglected for years and years and years. This lilac bush is, like it's really skimpy looking. Okay, so this year we're just going to take the big dead stuff. We'll let the tree heal for a season, and then we come back next year, we trim up more. And then the season after, we trim up more. And then the third season, your skimpy little lilacs that are like this go like this. And my one client, like, I'm proud of those lilac bushes and rose bushes because how much they've thickened up. Like, I thinned out all the dead stuff and all the undergrowth, and it's just like, now I know. It's like, okay, that's what I was doing the past 3 years. I didn't see much of a change. And then now it's like all the nutrients are going to, so I'm like, I got to get those little clips. And they could be like $10. You imagine a tool, it's $10. It can make you thousands, like over a season. Good return on investment. My chainsaws are like that. I mean, my chainsaws yesterday, well, I only used the one chainsaw, and my whippersnipper yesterday, I made like 175 yesterday. I could have made 200, but because my back was so sore and I was pretty much worn out for the week, I played hooky the last hour. And for my punishment, I got 2 free jars of preservatives. So it's like, I like my new clients, especially if they give me, like, food is always a hit with me, right? Especially homemade preservatives. Oh, can't wait to have some of that tonight. I got strawberry rhubarb and blueberry jam. So I told my dad about the strawberry rhubarb. And I said, because my dad gets really bad stones, he's not supposed to really have that because there's a lot of sodium in rhubarb. So, yeah. But just trimming stuff. Tree trimming stuff like branches, especially around cottages. Buy yourself a good polearm saw. A good one would probably cost you about $300. Right? A cheap one, about $80, $100. I've used the cheap ones, and they suck. They really do suck. But it saves you from climbing on a chainsaw for 15 feet. But just going around the cottages saying, hey, make a little card or whatever. Say, hey, can you see the lake really well? And if the answer is no, I'm $25 an hour, $35 an hour. If I was when I get into the exclusive saw stuff, like small stuff that's like really easy to do will be $35 an hour. And the reason why I'm going to do $35 an hour is, at $25 an hour, I have to add other expenses. I have to add the gas, right? I have to, I'm going to go through a chain once in a while, especially doing all the brushing stuff I'm doing right now. So I'll be like, okay, I got to, charge you extra for that. Where at $35 an hour, it's built into the price, okay? Bigger trees, $60 an hour, okay? So if I did that tree for $60 an hour, I mean, I'm going to be at that for a week. you know what I mean? So yes, you can make more if you just make one big price for them or whatever. And some people prefer that. But depend. Like, I'm in a rural area, so it's like, it's not like the city where it's like, okay, the city says I have to get this tree taken out. Yeah, okay, that'll be $8,000. Why? Because they said so. Whether there's a crew there or not, right? Price out, the average guy, arborist, is going to cost you $110 an hour. Thereabouts, right? So, for me, I don't have tree climbing equipment. I'm going to get all that stuff, and I'll take a course before I get into it. But if you really want to get into arborists, it's best to work with one for a year or two, to get the experience. So for me, I don't plan on climbing a lot of trees. But if I'm climbing a tree, it's $100 an hour. I'm still the cheap guy. I'm still competitively priced. But I'm not going to undercut myself. Okay, I'll work at $20 an hour doing that big. No, my body's going to be destroyed by the end of it. But what I can do, if I'm 35 or, well, like that, I'd be $60 an hour for a big tree like that. If I'm climbing, it'd be $100 an hour. Plus the other costs of, that'll take you that'll take you probably a couple of days to, maybe even a week, maybe even a month to plan out how you're going to do that tree. I'm not saying that tree's going, but a tree like that, and if it's a problem tree where it's like it's right tight by the house, people love planting trees right beside the house, right tight beside the house, right? Like you have to plan out how you're going to do it, so there's no quote on the spot sometimes. And you do the quote, and you usually charge for the quote because that's good. That's work. I charge the quote charge. There's no free quotes unless you can, small jobs. Yeah, you can do a free quote. But if I have to drive somewhere and say, okay, I'm going to charge you $40 just for me to show up to have a look. You know what I mean? Unless they're really local and really close. Okay, I won't worry about the gas. But if I have to drive, like, say, past a neighboring town, I'll be like, okay, yeah, there's going to be a service fee for the quote. You know what I mean? And I look at the trees or whatever. And again, I'm not going to take the really complicated stuff at first, because I don't have the time to work on it. I need something that I could finish up in a couple of hours. So, like, say, like a little pine like this. Okay, that I could have that on a tree, and, if there's nothing for it to hit, I could have that tree on the ground in like under 15 minutes. You know what I mean? I could have it cleaned up in probably about 20 minutes, and then blocked up and starting to clean up the branches within the hour, right? And, and again, you make sure everything's safe and all that. So, the other thing is, if you're not really into the falling trees, a lot of guys think that getting into the falling trees is the hard one. Now, the falling trees is the easy one. It's the broken trees, the storm damaged trees that are always the deadly ones, because people underestimate, the tree's already, like, for example, I got a storm damaged tree at one of my clients, but I can't tackle it till I get, not necessarily a bigger saw, but a new chain, because I'm not going to go into that tree when my chain's starting to, like, my chain still cuts, okay, but I've gotten over a year and a bit out of that chain. Like, I can get a long time out of a chain. If I'm cutting stuff like this, I get like 5 years out of a chain. I just got to keep sharpening it until the teeth are gone. But you get something this big, suddenly your cut's crooked, right? And at some point you can't bring it back. You hit too many stumps, or you hit too many rocks, you hit the ground too many times, stuff like that, right? So you're going to charge a chain right away, right? But if you're charging 30 an hour, you probably have 2 spare chains anyway, and the guy's paying for it. You're going to keep it simple. 35 an hour, and okay, so if I go through a chain on this job, you've paid for it anyway. If I get 3 jobs out of a chain, 10 jobs out of a chain, 100 jobs out of a chain, you've paid for it anyway, and the next guy pays for it, and I have spare chains, etc., etc. And it's a lot. Then it doesn't seem like you're gouging anybody. So that's very. We better keep that. It's going to melt. So I figured I'd just talk about that a little bit. So anyway, there's a lot of great ideas there, guys, and I'm hoping this month will be a really good idea month for the last little windstorm that went through about 2 weeks ago or a week ago. A guy lives up the road here, real nice guy. He's like, if anybody has any storm damaged trees, let me know. I got a chainsaw. So, and he just promotes on the local, like the local Facebook page. I'm sure that guy's got more work that he can even shake a stick at, right? So until I got my big chainsaw, I don't do that, but I don't need to because I got more work than I can shake a stick at, which is good, right? So anyway, I'll leave it at that, and there we go.